It's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I am combining two challenges in one video. The first one being taking box cake mix and canned frosting and turning it into a wedding cake. The second is that I'm doing my very first collab with this TikTok star at Cake Legend with 1.3 million followers. Ashleigh is one of the most young, talented cake decorators I have ever met in my life. Our challenge that we came up with was to give each other 10 adjectives, and those adjectives could be whatever we wanted. Now, we did try to make sure that we didn't look at each other's adjectives before drawing them randomly from a hat. Each of us chose 3 words, and we make whatever type of cake that we would like to. I just watched at Cake Legend's video, and it was absolutely amazing. So please, after you're done watching this, go and check it out. I think the most challenging part for me here is combining clean and flashy, so we'll see how well I do. So firstly, what I'm doing is I'm just buttering my pans. If you guys watched my other video where I used box cake mix to create something, you'll know that that is my method. Now, the only thing I'm going to be changing in this recipe is instead of just using regular milk or water, I am going to be using buttermilk, because when I make cakes, I really find the buttermilk makes it really nice and light and fluffy. And I also have a ton of it on hand and want to use it before it goes bad. 2 boxes of this Betty Crocker cake mix made approximately 2 8-inch and 2 6-inch cakes. I have a lot of frosting here. Now, I don't actually end up using all 5 cans, but I do use almost the full 4 cans. And like all frostings, it really needs to be re-whipped so that it's a lot easier to work with. I find this very similar to American buttercreams that you make at home, but it still has a little bit more elasticity, I find. Normally, I cut this into 2 so that I have 4 layers, so 3 layers of frosting, but I'm a little bit skeptical about how well this will hold up if I do that. So just to be on the safe side, I am just doing some extra thick frosting right in the center of the cake. Later on, I do portion out the 6-inch cake in 4 layers, and it works out perfectly fine. So I'm sure that that would have worked for the bottom as well. I then put both these cakes in the fridge overnight, but honestly, the buttercream hardened up pretty quickly, so I probably could have done it within the hour. This morning, my piñata cake hammers arrived, and I am super excited. I'm going to be taking some rice paper now, and I actually make salad rolls all the time, so I always have this stuff on hand for non-cake purposes too. But if you want to make rice paper sails, it's super easy. All you have to do is soak it in a little bit of water, and then you just gather as you would like. The reason that I'm adding these into the wedding cake is because I really want to sell that whimsical element. I'm also putting this on a non-stick surface. I really like using this mat because I find that I can just brush off the water really easily afterwards, whereas with parchment, it would get wet. If you want this to dry super quickly, put it in your oven at 175 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. Moving along to my sugar flowers, I'm just using fondant mixed with a little bit of Tylose powder. You could easily use gum paste as well. I just don't have it on hand very often. Before Christmas, I purchased this Wilton set that had a whole bunch of cutters for flowers, and it was so worth it. I still want to do a video just on that flower kit alone because I really think it's a great option. I've always been intimidated by the thought of making different types of flowers, but this orchid cutter set makes it so easy. And all I really needed to do was kind of roll out the edges just a little bit, and that's all. Now, you could also vein this a little bit as well, but I wanted it to have more of a modern kind of vibe, so I'm just leaving it as is. I'm just laying things out to see how everything is going to look, but I'm actually just going to put this all together onto the cake later. The next flower I'm going to make looks very similar to a rose, but the petals overlap a little bit more. I actually think it ends up looking more like a rose than it was supposed to because I didn't follow the directions to a T. But with cake decorating, you just do whatever you see fit. Whenever I want to make larger flowers that require more support in the middle, I try to stay away from using styrofoam because I want to keep things edible, so I use my lollipop trick. So with the adjectives that I was given, I feel like the word flashy kind of reminds me of something that's luxurious, something that is a little bit more over the top. So I did want to make some sugar flowers, as these are more challenging to make, and I feel like they always look beautiful and iconic on any wedding cake. If I'm making sugar flowers or something that does require a little bit of drying time, now because we added that Tylose powder, it's not super long, but I always try to make those first and then I cover my cake in fondant afterwards. I did find this a little bit more challenging with the canned frosting just because I found when I put it in the fridge, it crusted over quite a bit more than my Italian meringue buttercream, which I normally like to use. And when I put fondant onto Italian meringue buttercream, it just sticks right away, whereas I did have to add some shortening to this. As I was adding in all of my supports, it was functioning just like any other cake recipe that I've made from scratch, so I was really happy with that. All you need to do is make sure that you put in your center dowel as well and place your cake on top. Now you'll notice that I did offset my cake, and that's because I want to leave room for the flowers. A little tip, if you're having trouble cleaning off your board, or in this case my plate, just steam it and everything will come off and look shiny and clean again. Some of you have been asking why I use a steamer on my cakes, and the reason being is so that I can attach things really easily, like these flowers, and it also gets rid of any excess cornstarch, and if I'm using colors on my cake, then it really adds a nice saturation to them. After adding on my flowers, I'm just going to stab in those rice paper sheets that have now completely dried, and they're a little bit brittle, so you do want to be careful when you insert these. I'm just going to add on the last of this pearl border here, and these borders I just purchased from the dollar store. They're great because you can cut them down to size, you can have them thicker or thinner, and they're really inexpensive. Keeping that word flashy in mind, I'm going to add some edible glitter here. Now this glitter adds a little bit more of a sheen, so it is hard for the camera to pick up, but in person it is nice and glittery. To me, this wedding cake looks really clean with its pure white color, and I tried to keep the top really simple in texture, and I wanted to add that little bit of whimsical feel with those sails. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!